Happy Monday. I'll wait for YouTube to catch up with me for a minute. Just takes us an extra second. All right. Happy Monday. If you're watching on a replay, let us know in the comments. Hashtag replay. We are on both Facebook and YouTube. So if for some reason you can't find us one place, you can find us the other. And let's get my feed going so I can see comments. Nicole, hi, working on your flower child. Excellent. As you pop on, tell me hi. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me how your weekend was. You know, the drill, the usuals. Hi, Sherry. Holly, two cats on your lap, impeding your knitting, and the flower child, yes, and finishing up the magical thinking. Awesome. Yeah, you're just flying right through that magical thinking, and it looks so good. I love those colors together. There was a group of Saturday knitters that all started their flower child cardigan together. So a couple months ago, I posted a picture of Nicole and Karen and Ashley and Deb in their flower child pullover sweaters. The designer also has a DK weight cardigan version. So the ladies on Saturday started that. Well, some of them might have started sooner, but Saturday crew is working on the flower child cardigan. It's very pretty. Joyce, as the clues become available, I'm working on the cozy cat shelf scarf MCal between the lupine blouse. Hi, Linda. So I think there's a group of 4 of you, 5 of you. I can't remember. Karen, Deb. I don't remember if Ashley's knitting it. Judy, Holly, Nicole. Tell me if I'm missing anybody, girls. Since I'm not here on Saturday, I don't remember. Oh, Peggy. I think Peggy might be working on it too. So a handful of you, which is fun. All right, I got it started a little late today, so I will try and keep the chit chat to a minimum. I don't think this is going to be a long one today. I was hoping to have some new accessories to show off, but the USPS tracking says they're somewhere between Cincinnati and here. And they claim I will have them by 9 p.m. tonight, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, but I will talk about them a little bit. But might be a little shorter live tonight. Linda's working on a gridded love sweater. Ooh, I like the name of it. I haven't seen it, but it sounds cool. My name is Kristen. I'm the owner of the Little Yarn Shop located in Saginaw, Michigan, inside the SVRC Marketplace. We are here Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The rest of the market is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. With a few exceptions here and there. The beads and jewelry store is open on Tuesdays. Hello, Mama. And yeah, some of the shops in here have different hours than others. So we're pretty much here Wednesday through Saturday, though. We're pretty darn consistent. Gotta say that. So let's talk yarny things. I am wearing my Love Your sweater. This was one of the patterns that was released for LYS Day in 2024. The pattern is by Becca Anderson, who is the owner of Threadbender Yarn Shop in Grand Rapids. So it's done with a sport or DK weight yarn, and it's got this fun little texture and stitches up at the top. The yarn I used was Cascade Heritage 6. So the pattern, technically it calls for a DK weight anywhere from 850 to 1800 yards of a DK weight yarn. Heritage 6 it's a pretty true sport. And 100 grams is 292 yards, but I was able to get gauge with it, and it's not too open an area. It's a pretty solid knit with this. And then where you see all these little pops of color in the yoke is with mohair. You could do it with mohair. You could do it with just another color of DK or sport weight yarn. Jackie did a really pretty one with purples, with a variegated purple and then a solid purple. The Heritage 6 mirror right there. That's the kind of gray and purple version of this is what she did. And then she did solid purple for the contrast and looked really, really pretty. So that's what I'm wearing. Love your sweater. For this size, I did the 37-inch bust. It took 3 of the Heritage 6 and 1 ball of the Barocco Ariel. Hi, Teresa. So that's what I'm wearing. What am I working on? I'm working on my Trixie sweater. I'm back to it. Almost done with the body. So it's a sweater slash poncho-esque swancho thing. So I still have to pick up and do the neckline on it, but I've got the 4 colors in there. So the 4 colors that I used were from one of the Earth kits. These kits were designed for the medley and montage scarves, which would look something like this. This is the crocheted version. The knit version has a similar look. Hi, Cheryl. But that's what these kits were originally put together for. So it's 4 colors of Earth Yarns monochrome. So it's a kind of a slow change gradient yarn in each of the 4 colors. And I decided I wanted to show something different. Sorry, I was throwing yarn on the floor as usual. So I used a cream color, and the Trixie sweater calls for 3 contrast colors. Here's her picture. So she calls for 3 contrast colors, but I just took the total number of stripes that I would have to do and divided it by 4 instead of by 3. So each stripe uses a little bit less yarn than it would if I were to do 3 stripes instead of 4. So it's got the gold, the tan, the orange, and the green. Now I'm doing the ribbing. It's got a split hem. The back is a little bit longer than the front, so I'm almost done. I actually didn't do the back as long as it said. It said like 3.5 inches, and I got bored with it, so I stopped. I mean, it's got to be close. So that means I'm almost done with the front ribbing too. And it's just 2x2 ribbing. I have been playing around with how to get my ribbing to look even. A lot of times what you'll run into is, and the wrong side of my work looks a little wonky. So it's a good example of when your knit 2 purl 2 ribbing sometimes looks a little funky because of the tension between your knit stitches and your purl stitches. So I did some Googling and trying to figure out how to change that tension. So that's the wrong side. On the right side of my work, look at how much neater that looks. So I've seen a few different ways. I looked specifically for tutorials that address how to correct the tension for people who continental knit, because we tension our yarn in our left hand, which means your working yarn is actually pulling your stitch looser. The stitch you just worked is on your right needle. And if you're pulling your yarn to the left, it's kind of pulling that stitch looser. If you hold your yarn in your right hand, it's pulling it tighter against that needle. So automatically your tension is going to be different. One of the videos I watched said just when you knit 2 like normal, and when you purl that first one of your purl 2, you snug that up before you slide it off your needle. I didn't find that really helped me any. So what I do is I knit my 2 stitches like normal. Then my first purl stitch, I wrap the opposite way. I make sure I don't twist it when I'm going back, but I only do that on the right side. On the wrong side, I just kind of knit 2, purl 2 like I normally would, which is why the wrong side of my work looks a little funky. Hi, Rosaria. And I think if I had done that, wrapping the yarn the opposite way on the first purl stitch on the back side, it would be a little bit more even, but I didn't care as much. And I also kind of wanted to just show how you could see how the ribbing looks so nice on this side and it looks a little bit sloppier on that side. And it's not a big deal. Once it blocks, a lot of times that kind of just settles down and blocks out, but I was kind of playing around with it. Hopefully the sleeves won't take me too long because this is kind of a poncho-y drop shoulder. The sleeves start fairly low and they're not real long. They're not full long sleeve. It's almost kind of like a 3/4 or bracelet length. It's got a really cute, is there a closer picture of it? Not a great picture, but you can see down here, there's a little bit of color work at the cuff. So that'll be fun when I get to that too. But working my way through it, still plenty of yarn. I'm on my second skein of the cream. Hi, Aunt Jackie, you made it home in time, yes. And for my contrast colors, I have plenty. So even if you were to do a larger size, I'm doing why would I have anything circled to tell me what size I'm doing? I think I'm doing the smallest one because it is oversized and boxy, the smallest size measures 46, which would give me 10 inches of ease. So I'm doing the smallest size. And I did not swatch. I'm sure it'll be fine because it is big and boxy and oversized. But if you were to do, you've got enough yarn if you did it with these 4 colors to do a larger size for sure. Because I'm pretty much done with that yarn. But I'm really happy with how it looks so far. Depending on how busy my week is, I might have it done next week, or I might have at least a sleeve done next week. We'll see. So that's what I'm working on. I almost wore this again tonight, and then I was afraid people would think that they were seeing last week's video and not this week's video. But I finally blocked yesterday or the day before my ranunculus. So I wore it last week. I almost was going to wear it again today just to show you the difference because it relaxed so nicely. When I was wearing it last week, it was kind of puckery across the yoke and that all relaxed and it just got softer and squishier. Okay, so I was right. I'm doing the smallest size in that. Good. Thank you, Melissa. I do have some of this yarn on order. The yarn that I used for the ranunculus is the Madeline Tosh Farm Twist, which is a 2-ply worsted weight yarn. I really liked working with it. I really like, it kind of gives a rustic look and feel, but softer. It doesn't really make sense because I don't like woolly wools. This doesn't feel like a woolly wool, but it has kind of the structure to it like a good woolly wool would, but it is a superwash. But it's done. It's blocked. And it's all woven in and clipped and everything. So I will probably be wearing that this week. So I just wanted to show how you can see a little bit of a difference between how it looked last week versus how it looks now. Oh, I had a note to talk about. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned and had Melissa share the link to a YouTube tutorial about alternating skeins of yarn using the yarn forward technique, where you get to the end of the row, you bring your one skein forward, put your other one back, and keep knitting. I decided I would try that, the method that the designer recommends, because you're knitting flat until you join 4 at the bottom of your sleeves. And then you knit in the round. And because it's single row stripes, the designer recommends helical knitting, which if you've done it before, you know that doing helical knitting means you're shifting where you're changing colors by like 3 stitches every round. So kind of your beginning of round shifts. And I didn't like the idea of changing a stripe color in the middle of either the front or the back of the work. So helical knitting is a technique where when you're knitting with one color, you stop 3 stitches, in this case, 3 stitches before your other color, before the end of your round. And then you slide those 3 stitches, knit with the other color, stop 3 stitches prior, slide, pick up and knit. And so there's no real, you don't get any sort of jog where one color starts and one color ends, which is kind of cool with 1 row stripes. So I wanted to show, I did a few different techniques on here. Some you can tell and some you can't. So the first couple rows I did using the helical knitting technique. So you can't see, if you just look here, you can't see any sort of jog or anything where I've dropped one color. Sometimes if you're doing stripes on a hat, you end up with that seam where you can see where one color stops and one color starts, and it always looks like you're half a stitch off. Then I decided I was going to try Karen's yarn forward technique, and I started that right about here. And you can see a difference here. That's just because my contrast color changed. I went from orange to green as my contrast color. So there's not really a way to avoid that because there isn't. Plus I was kind of fussing with what I was doing. I was a little disenfranchised with how it looked because I felt like you could still see a little bit of a seam there. And on the inside, you could still see a little bit of that seam. And then I rewatched the video. And then I started doing what the video actually said to do instead of what I thought the video said to do. So I thought I had watched the video and I got it all figured out where you have 1 yarn on this side and 1 yarn on that side and you keep them straight. Well, there was one little step that I was kind of missing. So all that to say, I then went back to doing it the proper way. You can see where I shifted right about here. And then all of a sudden it's back to looking like you can't even tell where the beginning of my round is. And you can see on the inside where it shifted from where I was doing it wrong to where I was doing it right. So it's a really cool technique, super simple. It keeps your yarn from getting twisted. I'm a big fan of it. Karen is working on a couple red sweaters and the one red sweater I posted photos of the pile of her red yarn last week. She was doing this yarn forward technique and I was curious about, was it just invisible because you were using 2 strands of the same color of yarn and you didn't notice it? But this is a great example of how you could use 2 colors and it's pretty seamless and pretty invisible. So I was kind of excited about that. Okay, what else do I have to talk about? Deb and Ashley's Flurries Cowl class starts this Wednesday. And if you are not part of the craft along, I think she put it in the craft along group. Maybe she didn't. No, Melissa's shaking her head no. So I know Ashley put it in their Facebook group. Karen, it was called Yarn Forward. I'm sure Melissa can find the video to be able to post. Because Karen had sent us, my Karen had sent us a really good video. If we can't find it to post now, we will get it. We'll get it posted. Melissa's telling me she's working on it. Of course she is. So for those in taking the Flurries Cowl class that starts Wednesday nights, they will be meeting down by where the bead store used to be or where El Farolito used to be, the same place that I posted the graphic of this evening, although you don't have to go to the outside door because the market's open on Wednesday until 7. You can come in. If you don't know where to go, come in the shop and we can direct you where you need to go. Hi, Amy. Amy, we need to talk about your bags. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Melissa. So Ashley did post in the class event that we created on Facebook, but I wanted to, hi Ruth, I wanted to go over a couple things that she asked that you be prepared for the class on Wednesday. One is have your pattern either printed off or in a PDF reader, whatever you use. If you just use your iPad and the iBooks or Knit Companion, or if you use a printed pattern, have that printed off for Wednesday. You need a US 4, either a 22 or 32-inch circular needle. You need to have your yarn wound so you can come in early on Wednesday and get that done if you have not gotten that done yet. And it calls for a provisional cast on. So they're asking that you have that provisional cast on done before you come in. If you don't know how to do that, they can go over that with you the first night. But if you do know how to do a provisional cast on with waste yarn, do that. So you're ready to go. Deb was saying on Saturday, a couple of ladies were in and working on that. So doing the provisional cast on and knitting one round just to get yourself up and ready to go. So that starts Wednesday. That's exciting. Other upcoming things. I got an email that the dates for the middle of the mitten yarn crawl are June 11th through the 20th. So 10 days again for that. And then the Heartland Yarn Adventure is July 24th through August 2nd. So that gives you a good month. And we're not interfering with 4th of July holiday plans or anything like that. So June 11th through 20th for the middle of the mitten yarn crawl. Heartland Yarn Adventure is July 24th through August 2nd. So we are participating in both and we are excited about that. Melissa posted a link to Very Pink Knits provisional cast on. If you're not quite sure how to do a provisional cast on, we like Very Pink Knits for a lot of her tutorials. She's pretty good. She's a little wordy, but the way she, her camera angles are really great and the way she explains things are really great too. So that's in the comments. I was really hoping that I could show off some new gadgets tonight. Like I said at the beginning, they were supposed to be here today. They are not, but I want to tell you about them and tell you that they are on their way. So if you see them online, don't order them online. Know that we've got them and they will be here. Hopefully by the time I open Wednesday, they will be here to us. But Twice Sheared Sheep came out with some fun new knitting and crochet gadgets. Last year or the year before, they came out with a big clear acrylic stitch gauge where you could check your gauge with little boxes to check your stitches. And I believe it's good for knit and crochet. Well, this year they just came out with a row gauge. So it's another one where you can hold it up to your work and check your row gauge without trying to hold up a ruler to it and make sure that you're within the lines and all that stuff. It's a little bit easier to look at. So we've got those coming to us. They came out with these really cool thingies and tools. I just keep using the word tools and gadgets, but it's they're called yarn gators. And if you go to Twice Sheared Sheep, either to their website or any of their social medias, they do have photos of a lot of this stuff. And our prices will be pretty much the same as theirs. And we will have things here on Wednesday, like I said. But these yarn gators are acrylic yarn minders, essentially. Like I think we've all had those project bags that have the holes, the grommets, and you can feed your yarn through, and then it kind of keeps everything straight. Especially if you're working with more than one color, you can feed the two different yarns through, and then it kind of keeps things separated. But we run into problems with those if you need to take your yarn out of the bag. There's no way to do that without cutting your yarn unless you're at the end of your skein. Or if you have to rip some out, that's kind of a fussy thing to do. Yes, I love gadgets and thingies too. It's kind of fussy with those little grommets. So this yarn gator that they've come up with it has spots for, I think, 4 yarns to run through, but it opens and closes. So when it's closed, it looks like it's got 4 holes, but it's 2 pieces of acrylic and it opens so you can take your yarns out if you want to. Pretty neat little tool. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to be on the list and have us set one aside for you when they come in, just put it in the comments, let us know. So we're getting those, we're getting the gauges, and then they have this new tool called a Stitch Scout multi-tool. And it's I got so excited about it. I didn't actually read the whole description of it, but I'm pretty sure it's a wood, like a little wood box that looks like a little trinket box, and it has spaces to put your stitch markers and such in there. But then it has like three different layers on top. Like it swivels to open and close the box. But then there are also layers that swivel that have a wrap springe tool, a yarn cutter, a needle gauge. Feel like there's something else that I can't remember. Maybe it's just the lid to cover up to keep the stitch markers and everything in place. But I thought it was a really cool concept and a fun. We always need more tools and gadgets and stuff like that. And I really think that this is we used to carry the what were they called? I just was doing inventory and it was on my list earlier today. We used to have the little multi-tool things. I can't remember what they're called, but this is kind of a good replacement of that. I feel like I would want one of these little Stitch Scout um multi-tools in every project bag because I'm pretty sure our little mini scissors would fit in there too. You could have pretty much everything. So let's see, what does it say? Stitch Scout tool includes knitting needle and crochet hook gauge. Oh, gauge square, yarn cutter, reps per inch tool, measuring tape, cable, needle, repair, crochet, hook combo, darning needle, storage box for stitch markers, etc. So lots of really cool stuff in that little thing. So those are all coming to us. I'm very excited about that. I wish I had them to show you guys, but I will for sure next week unless they're all gone by then. She knows how to copy and paste really well. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I know you all know that we've been collecting yarn for the correctional facility, for the Freeland Correctional Facility for a while. And that is great if you want to donate your stash to get rid of things, and we will still continue to do that. However, I have decided that it is time to do another Spring Your Stash sale. We have not done one in a few years. I think it was pre-COVID before we did one. I can't remember what year that was, but it's been a couple years since we did a Spring Your Stash sale. So a lot of you are newer with us. You might not know what that is. We put together a stash sale where you could label and price your yarn however you wanted to price it. And we run a sale here. I rent out a separate area in the marketplace. We run all the sales through the shop. So it's kind of like a rummage sale for crafters. We did, I'm pretty sure last time we did fabric and crafting supplies and yarn and tools. So it didn't just have to be yarn. But so we're calling it this another Spring Your Stash sale. And the way it will work is we will give you a unique identifying number that you will write on each thing. What worked really well last time is that everything would be in like Ziploc bags. You write on the outside the price with your unique identifier on it. And we organize everything. We run a sale for a few days, depending on how much we have and how much space and stuff we have here. I know you did, Holly. And fiber. Yes, I did fiber before as well. And so how does this work and what do you get out of it? You can choose to get cash back. Like I said, we'll run all the sales through the shop so people can pay with credit card, they can pay with cash, they can use gift cards, they can do all of that. If you choose that you want cash back, you get a certain percentage of the sales back. So it's kind of like a consignment thing. If you choose to get it as in-store credit, as a gift card, you get a higher percentage back. I think it was like, if you want a cash back, it's 60%. And if it's shop credit, it's 75%. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look through a little bit, but I wanted to mention it, get you thinking about what your stash, if you're looking at yarns that you have that, I think some people have yarns that they don't want to donate because they love the yarn, but maybe aren't in love with the yarn anymore. Or you just haven't gotten around to donating yarn yet. So The beauty of this is when we're done, anything that's not sold, we can donate. Now that we're partnering with the correctional facility all the time, anything that's not sold can get donated right to the correctional facility, and we know that it will go get put to really good use. So be keeping that in mind. If it's something you're interested in, reach out to me. I will start a spreadsheet. I can get you a number. You can start now. It's probably going to be something that we do in March or April. I'm not really sure, but I want to make sure that we get this prepped ahead of time enough that I can do some good advertising for it, get the word out to people who aren't. It's a really great opportunity to get really good yarn in people's hands who may not otherwise be able to afford it, but want to do something a little bit nice. It's a really great opportunity to clear out your stash of things if you haven't done that yet, or just to find something different. I think last time Suzanne found some really great sock yarn and she was set, like she ended up with a big old bin of it. So good things. Helps you, helps other people, helps us a little bit because it gets more traffic through the market and spreads some goodwill and gets more yarn in more people's hands and more uses. And it frees up space for you and funds for you so you can come buy more yarn from us. Yarn that you love and yarn that you want to do things with. So it was a huge success last time we did it, and I would love to see it be even a bigger success this time. So keep that in mind as you start looking if you're doing spring cleaning or starting to think about cleaning up after the holidays and see your stash and you're not quite sure what you want to do with some of that stuff. Um, Not really it. I think that's all I have to talk about today. See, I said it would be a little bit short, not short by any stretch, but a little bit. Excellent, Ruth. I'm glad to hear it. I'm sure you've got some great stuff that you could donate, and it doesn't have to be full skeins of things. It is helpful. Obviously, it's going to sell better if people can see what it is that they're purchasing, if there's a larger quantity of something, but it doesn't have to be full skeins of things. We do just ask that it be in good condition. So really be cautious, make sure that there are no bugs, moths, anything like that. Smoke-free home. I can't say pet-free because how many of us would that exclude? Like really? But it's kind of a little buyer beware thing for people too. It's obviously you're buying yarn that's been pre-owned and pre-loved. So it'll be a good thing. I might go through some of my stash at home and kind of do some of the same. Okay, that is all I have for everybody tonight. I will be back next week. What does the Flurries cowl look like? I don't have Deb's here with me. She's still working on it. I don't even have a picture of it, but I think Melissa posted a link a little bit ago, so you could look at it on Ravelry. Yes, you did. You could check that out on Ravelry. It's a beautiful 2-color stranded cowl. Oh, one quick last thing. I did want to show off. Everybody gets so intimidated with all of the double knitting that Joyce does. I wanted to show this off because I wanted to show how you don't have to do these big projects all the time. Yes, Joyce does these beautiful scarves in double knitting, but she also does. Look at how cute this is. So this is, I know on Facebook it's backwards, and I'm sorry, I have no control over that anymore. But you could do little double knitting projects, and it would be a great way to practice doing some double knitting if you wanted to just kind of play around with it. Something like this is not as easy as it initially looks for double knitting, because if you pay attention, the K is facing the same direction on both sides, which is backwards if you're looking at it on Facebook, but it's not if you're looking at it in person. But on both sides, it's facing the correct direction. So it's not mirrored. So you're not doing the same thing on the front side and the back side. So it is a little bit of a step up from completely mirrored double knitting, but still, I just wanted to say you could do little projects. You don't have to tackle big things all the time. Okay, now for sure. That's it. That's all I have to talk about tonight. So I hope everybody has a good night and a good week. I think it's supposed to get colder. Not crazy about that, but we have knitwear and so we can wear it all and stay warm and cozy. Oh, Oriana, I'm just about done. You have to go back and watch the replay. As a reminder, replays post on Facebook. I think they stay up there for 6 months, and on YouTube they stay on there. So just pop into rewatch, and we do keep an eye on the comments after the fact. So if there's something you see, if you've watched a replay and you have questions or want to reach out to us, either send us a message or post a comment and we will try and get back to you. So hope everybody has a great night and a great week. And if we don't see you here in the shop sometime this week, then we'll be back here next Monday at 7. All right, everybody.